Early the next morning, just as daylight broke, Lin Jing stood up, ending his meditation. After a day's rest, Lin Jing had finally recovered. The day before, the two had agreed to meet Elder Bai at Ubala today. So, early this morning, Lin Jing woke up. He quickly got ready and then headed out. Before long, Lin Jing arrived at Huang Qingling's courtyard. Just as he was about to knock, Huang Qingling opened the door and came out. Seeing Lin Jing, Huang Qingling smiled and teasingly said, "You're quite early. You seemed so reluctant yesterday. I was afraid you'd run off by yourself. I was thinking of coming to get you early. I didn't expect you to be so proactive. Now it's perfect. I don't have to go looking for you." Huang Qingling's words left Lin Jing with a wry smile, and he replied, "You worry too much, Taoist Qingling. Even if I didn't want to go, I would have explained it to Elder Yu." After hearing this, Huang Qingling seemed quite displeased, pouting as she said, "Lin Jing, how about we change how you address me? Taoist Qingling, Taoist Qingling. I hear it so often, it's giving me a headache." Lin Jing looked at Huang Qingling and asked, "Then what should I call you?" "Qingling. Just drop the Taoist part." Huang Qingling decided without hesitation. Lin Jing's mouth curved into a smile as he said, "All right, Taoist Qingling. I got it, Taoist Qingling." Having said that, Lin Jing ran off first. "Oh, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you, Lin Jing? Stop right there." Soon after, Huang Qingling realized what was happening, shouted in anger, and chased after him. Arriving at Ubala, Lin Jing and Huang Qingling went all the way to the top floor where Elder Bai was. There, besides Elder Bai, were two others already present. These two were none other than Zhang Yuan and the Zhang family's golden core immortal, Zhang Wu. It was unclear why they were here. Upon arriving, Lin Jing first greeted Elder Bai and Elder Yu, and then clasped his hands toward Zhang Wu. Senior, Zhang Wu had protected him in front of the Wǔ Cǎi immortal before, and hence, Lin Jing was very grateful to this elder of the Zhang family. Zhang Wu, with a smile, nodded at Lin Jing. Then, Lin Jing turned to Zhang Yuan, who was standing on the side, and greeted with a fist and palm salute. "Brother Zhang." Zhang Yuan, smiling, responded with the same gesture. "Brother Lin, let's not be so formal with each other." Lin Jing smiled and nodded in agreement. Following that, Elder Bai started speaking to both Lin Jing and Huang Qingling. "I will be leaving today to head to the demon race secret realm. We have already arranged that in 2 days, Qingling and you, Lin Jing, will follow Zhang Wu immortal to the secret realm." "Yes, Elder Bai." "Understood." The two of them responded simultaneously. Elder Bai nodded, then said to Lin Jing and the others, "That's all. There's nothing else to explain. We still have some things to discuss between us. You three can leave now." "Yes, Elder Bai." After that, Lin Jing and the others left the place. After leaving Ubala, only Lin Jing and Zhang Yuan were left. Huang Qingling said he had some urgent matters to attend to, then let the two of them go ahead to wait for him at the small tavern across the street. Subsequently, Lin Jing and Zhang Yuan went to the small tavern opposite Ubala. This was Lin Jing's second visit. The Wang-named pill master who came with Lin Jing for the first time died at the hands of Lu Yiyuan's father. That man had also wanted to conspire with Lu Yiyuan to ambush Lin Jing. Meeting such fate was indeed his deserved retribution. The servant of the small tavern had particularly sharp eyes, and upon seeing Lin Jing and his companion approaching, he promptly came out to greet them before they even reached the entrance. "Gentlemen, please come inside." Saying this, the servant led the two guests into the tavern. They found a spot on the second floor by the window and sat down. "Gentlemen, what would you like to have?" the servant asked after guiding them to sit down. "Bring us a pot of tea first. We are waiting for one more person, and we can order more later, once everyone is here," said Zhang Yuan to the servant. "All right, kind sirs, please wait a moment." After the servant spoke, he went downstairs. Once the server had left, Lin Jing started a conversation with Zhang Yuan. "Brother Zhang, it's been quite some time since I last saw you. How have you been lately?" Zhang Yuan replied, "My ancestor taught me a spell some time ago, and I have been in seclusion practicing ever since. Just a few days ago, the ancestor said he wanted to arrange an assessment for me, which is why I came out of seclusion. An assessment, Lin Jing echoed, then suddenly understood that this was probably preparation to entrust Zhang Yuan with a significant responsibility, hence the assessment. Congratulations, Brother Zhang. If you pass the assessment, the family will likely entrust you with a heavy responsibility. It seems the elder sees you as the future family head, Lin Jing said with a smile. However, Zhang Yuan seemed not to be happy. Instead, he turned to look out of the window, as if pondering something. At this moment, the servant came over with a tray. The servant first placed the teapot and teacups from the tray onto the table. Then, he poured the tea into the cups for them and said, "Gentlemen, please enjoy." After finishing, the servant left with the tray. It was only when the servant had left that Zhang Yuan snapped back to reality. Actually, if it weren't for an accident, the position of family head should have belonged to my younger uncle. The younger uncle Zhang Yuan mentioned must be the newly advanced golden core member of the Zhang family, who got injured while hunting down the wolf-headed demon cultivator and eventually perished due to severe injuries. Zhang Yuan then continued to speak to Lin Jing. That injury of my uncle was originally not that severe, even lighter than what the ancestor had suffered. But who would have thought, just when his condition was improving, his injuries suddenly worsened, and he just perished like that. I didn't even get to see him for the last time. That younger uncle, he was very kind to me. After speaking, Zhang Yuan looked desolate. Then he picked up the cup of tea on the table and drank a big gulp as if it were alcohol. The tea was still scalding hot at the moment, yet Zhang Yuan acted as if he felt nothing, and after putting down the teacup, he continued to look out of the window. Seeing this, Lin Jing felt it was not appropriate to say more, so he offered a word of comfort. On the road to cultivation, such days will come for us all, sooner or later. The departed are gone, Brother Zhang. Please try to let go. Perhaps Lin Jing's consolation had an effect, as Zhang Yuan then came back to his senses and reassured Lin Jing. Brother Lin, don't worry, I was just feeling a bit sentimental. I'm glad you're all right, Brother Zhang, Lin Jing replied. Following that, Lin Jing did not dare to continue on this topic any further. Instead, he changed the subject. Brother Zhang, you've been in seclusion all this time, so you probably don't know that another golden core immortal has been murdered here in Immortal City. Zhang Yuan then looked at Lin Jing with a puzzled expression and asked, I really didn't know about this. Do you know who the victim was and which family they belonged to? And who would be so bold as to dare strike at a golden core immortal in broad daylight? The victim was a golden core immortal from the Yuan family. And the one who made the move, you know him well. It was none other than that demonic path demon cultivator. Demonic cultivators of the demonic path, Zhang Yuan said, his face a picture of surprise. What? He hasn't been caught yet? Lin Jing nodded and replied, That's right. That demon cultivator is extremely cunning. Despite numerous encirclements, he has always managed to escape, especially during the recent incident when he killed a golden core member of the Yuan family. We almost had him surrounded, but ultimately he got away. Moreover, during that incident, he injured several of the golden core immortals participating in the encirclement. It is said that your family's patriarch was there as well and got injured in that blockade. Startled, Zhang Yuan responded, My patriarch got injured? Why have I been kept in the dark? Nobody ever told me about it. You've been in closed-door cultivation recently. Maybe he didn't want to worry you, Lin Jing replied. After saying that, Lin Jing proceeded to elaborate further. Also, I heard that the patriarch's injuries were not severe, which may be the reason you were kept uninformed. Zhang Yuan nodded, then continued. Perhaps. The patriarch's lifespan was not much to begin with. It was only after taking the lifespan extension pill last time that he got somewhat better, but the pill can only extend life by up to 50 years at most. If the patriarch were to suffer serious injuries again, I fear it would damage the fundamentals and cause his already limited lifespan to dwindle even faster. The patriarch must be conducting my assessment in hopes of training me quickly. Yes, Lin Jing echoed with a reply. The situation of a Zhang family patriarch was indeed not optimistic. If they could cultivate a qualified family head in the remaining time and bring forth a new golden core immortal for the Zhang family, only then would the Zhang family be able to prevent decline in the times ahead. Of course, Zhang Wu is also a golden core immortal, but Zhang Wu and the Zhang family patriarch belong to the same era. The ages of the two are not vastly different. He likely won't last much longer either and will pass away due to the end of his lifespan. It's even possible that he might pass away before the patriarch who has taken the lifespan extension pill. That is precisely why there's a pressing need to cultivate Zhang Yuan. Afterward, the two fell silent, both turning their heads to look out the window. Not long after, Huang Qingling arrived. "What's with you two? Why do you both look so melancholic?" she asked as she approached. "It's just some family matters, nothing much." Zhang Yuan spoke up. "Oh," Huang Qingling responded. At that moment, Lin Jing turned to Huang Qingling and asked, "What were you up to just now? Why did you have us come here first to wait for you?" "I thought of something great," Huang Qingling said as she reached into her storage bag and pulled out 2 jade pendants from within. Then, she handed one of them to Lin Jing. "Lin Jing, take this." Lin Jing, staring at the jade pendant in Huang Qingling's hand, said, "Isn't this a paired pendant? Why did you buy this?" He was quite baffled. The paired pendant is made from a special spirit jade. Inside the spirit jade, a special kind of spirit insect is sealed. These spirit insects are naturally a pair and are born emitting a special glow. If they are forcibly separated, their glow will begin to fade, and the further apart they are, the dimmer the glow on their bodies becomes, until it completely disappears. When these spirit insects are made into paired pendants, they retain the effect of being able to locate each other's position. Once 2 people wear these pendants, they can rely on them to find each other's location. However, because the effect of paired pendants is very specific and the range they can be used within is rather limited, they are not commonly used by many people. Mostly Dao companions buy these paired pendants, and ordinary cultivators rarely purchase them specifically for their use. It is for this reason that this jade pendant has acquired the name of paired pendants. Seeing both Lin Jing and Zhang Yuan puzzled, Huang Qingling began to explain. "That's because your cultivation is low. After we're teleported into the secret realm, we'll be separated. Without Little Sparrow this time, we can't go and find you. By then, I can use this jade pendant to know your approximate location, and then I'll be able to find you." As soon as Huang Qingling finished speaking, before Lin Jing could respond, Zhang Yuan nodded in agreement. "That indeed is a good method. Brother Lin's cultivation is still too low. You were attacked by demonic beasts last time. You can't be careless this time either. Brother Lin, just accept this jade pendant." Lin Jing looked at the two, then nodded and reluctantly accepted the jade pendant. After giving away the jade pendant, Huang Qingling also intended to give Lin Jing a few second-rank talismans for emergencies. However, Lin Jing already had quite a few talismans, so he declined Huang Qingling's kind offer. 2 days later, Lin Jing and Huang Qingling were prepared early and came to the Zhang family. Upon their arrival, Zhang Wu was already prepared and waiting for them. This secret realm journey also included Zhang Yuan. It was said to be an assessment arranged for Zhang Yuan by the Zhang family patriarch, right within the secret realm. He set off together with the other 2 as well. After the 2 arrived, Zhang Wu gave some instructions to the 3 of them, and not long after, they left the Zhang family together for the demon race secret realm. The group left the city and then flew on their swords towards the entrance of the secret realm. On the way, Zhang Wu led in front while Lin Jing and the other 2 followed closely behind. The journey went very smoothly, with golden core immortal Zhang Wu around. Demonic beasts kept their distance upon sensing the terrifying aura of his cultivation. Thus, no beast dared to launch a sneak attack on them. After several hours of flight, the group finally arrived at the entrance to the secret realm. Next, they entered the secret realm through the entrance and were teleported inside. It was the same as last time. This time, Lin Jing, who was teleported in, was still separated from the rest. After his arrival, Lin Jing first cautiously surveyed his surroundings. Fortunately, this time he was not attacked by demonic beasts. Seeing that the surrounding area was safe, Lin Jing then took out the jade pendant. At this moment, the light from the jade pendant was somewhat faint, clearly indicating that Lin Jing was not very close to Huang Qingling. Then, holding the jade pendant, Lin Jing walked in a certain direction. After traveling some distance, Lin Jing found that the light emitted from the jade pendant grew weaker and weaker. It was obvious that he was going in the wrong direction. So, Lin Jing quickly turned back and headed in the opposite direction. Indeed, this time, the light from the jade pendant became brighter and brighter. After less than half an hour, Lin Jing finally saw Huang Qingling. Huang Qingling also caught sight of Lin Jing. After a moment of joy, she ran towards Lin Jing. This jade pendant is really useful. Huang Qingling, looking at the jade pendant in her hand, said excitedly. Yes, Lin Jing echoed. Shall we wait for the others now? Huang Qingling asked. Sound good, Lin Jing said. It wasn't too long before Zhang Wu, leading Zhang Yuan, found Lin Jing and Huang Qingling. After the group united, they immediately set off again. Under Zhang Wu's leadership, they made their way through the dense forest. The demonic beasts inside the secret realm were far more ferocious than those outside. En route, there were several beast attacks, but they were all killed by Zhang Wu. The way had been fraught with danger, but they'd managed so far without incident. However, the route they traveled this time was different from the one they had taken previously. It was surprising since Zhang Wu, leading the way, had been to the secret realm several times before and shouldn't have been unfamiliar with the paths. Moreover, when traversing the dense forest, having a general direction was sufficient. Sweating the small stuff was unnecessary. So although Lin Jing was puzzled, he said nothing. Several people trekked through the dense forest until dusk fell. After traveling for a long time, they all felt somewhat fatigued and discussed to find a place to rest. But just at this moment, suddenly, a forceful divine sense pressure swept over them. This divine sense pressure was extremely domineering, making it difficult for Lin Jing to catch his breath. Lin Jing's brow furrowed tightly as he quickly circulated his cultivation technique to resist, and, straining, he looked up into the sky. From afar, a figure on a flying sword was heading their way. At this time, Lin Jing caught a glimpse of Huang Qingling beside him and saw that she was in a similar state, with her brows tightly knitted, straining to look toward the distant horizon. Clearly, Huang Qingling was also exerting her full power to counter this terrifying divine sense pressure. Even Zhang Yuan, standing next to Huang Qingling, was in the same predicament. The person was fast. In just a moment, he had closed much of the distance between himself and Lin Jing's group. When the person got close, Lin Jing finally saw clearly. It turned out to be the Wǔ Cǎi immortal. Lin Jing's complexion turned ashen as he watched the Wǔ Cǎi immortal flying toward them. He was at a loss as to why the Wǔ Cǎi immortal would suddenly appear here, and the momentum was aggressive, clearly targeting them. The Wǔ Cǎi immortal quickly arrived above them, standing in the void, observing the group below. Lin Jing made an effort to look up at the Wǔ Cǎi immortal hovering in midair. The coldness in the immortal's eyes was intense as they fixed on Lin Jing, and the divine sense pressure was even more terrifying than before. Despite Lin Jing circulating his cultivation technique with all his might, he could barely stand. Lin Jing's thoughts raced, and he couldn't help but think to himself, could it be that the matter with Yuan has been exposed? At this time, the Wǔ Cǎi immortal spoke. Zhang Wu, hand over Lin Jing to me, and I will let you go immediately, guaranteeing we will not harm a hair on your heads. Otherwise, none of you will escape. Upon hearing this, Lin Jing's heart gave a jolt, and his mind whirred as he quickly recalled the events of that day. However, no matter how much Lin Jing pondered, he couldn't remember any slip-ups. Besides, there were no other people in that place at the time, so it couldn't have been discovered by anyone else. After listening to the Wǔ Cǎi immortal's words, even Huang Qingling's brows tightened. Zhang Yuan, maintaining his composure, stepped in front of Lin Jing to confront the Wǔ Cǎi immortal above. As for Zhang Wu, he was much calmer than the other three. Zhang Wu's gaze was steady as he looked directly at the Wǔ Cǎi immortal above and said, "Why do you want Lin Jing? He's just a junior." Humph. The Wǔ Cǎi immortal let out a cold snort, then continued. "The murderer of Lu Yuan is him. He managed to deceive us before, but not this time. Today, no one can save him." Hearing the Wǔ Cǎi immortal's words, both Huang Qingling and Zhang Yuan turned their heads in disbelief to look at Lin Jing. Lin Jing, however, furrowed his brows and made no indication. Yet at this time, Zhang Wu remained calm. "And how do you know that Lin Jing is the murderer of Lu Yuan?" Faced with Zhang Wu's question, the Wǔ Cǎi immortal did not explain and spoke impatiently. "How I know is none of your concern. I'm just asking whether you will hand him over or not. If you won't hand him over, think carefully about the consequences." Facing the Wǔ Cǎi immortal's threat, Zhang Wu was not in the least bit anxious, and instead said to himself, "Was it a few days ago that someone suddenly came to you and told you that Lin Jing killed Lu Yuan? And furthermore, they provided evidence convincing enough to persuade you, such as the forbidden artifact, the Lu True Sword, that my lord bestowed upon Lin Jing. And they also employed an ancient secret technique to transfer the 10-day soul-chasing curse. That's why Lin Jing dared to appear so openly in front of you after killing Lu Yuan. Isn't that so?" After Zhang Wu finished speaking, the Wǔ Cǎi immortal instantly became more vigilant, and his expression turned extremely grim as he looked at Zhang Wu. Then, he quickly turned his head to look around, but saw nothing amiss. Afterward, the Wǔ Cǎi immortal turned back to Zhang Wu, his face dark, and asked in a heavy voice, "How did you come to know this, and so clearly at that?" Zhang Wu remained profoundly calm at this time, appearing not to worry at all. Suddenly, Wǔ Cǎi immortal spoke up and began to explain. "Because this information was deliberately leaked by us." The words of Zhang Wu made Wǔ Cǎi immortal's complexion turn even uglier. Zhang Wu then continued, "The target, of course, was you. Otherwise, how could you have so easily obtained our information and then followed us here?" As soon as Zhang Wu finished speaking, Lin Jing and the other two were visibly shocked. At that moment, Lin Jing looked toward Zhang Yuan. He saw that Zhang Yuan, like Huang Qingling, was also wearing an expression of shock, looking at Zhang Wu in disbelief. Clearly, he had also been unaware of this matter until now. Lin Jing, despite his shock, felt a bit relieved. It turned out that it wasn't his exposure after all. Rather, Zhang Wu had used him as bait to lure Wǔ Cǎi immortal into following them here. Furthermore, Zhang Wu had just used the word us, clearly indicating that more than just Zhang Wu was involved in this matter. If Lin Jing's guess was correct, there must be others lying in ambush nearby. They had gone to such lengths, apparently planning to take action against Wǔ Cǎi immortal. If they could truly eliminate Wǔ Cǎi immortal, Lin Jing would have no complaints about being used. After hearing this, Wǔ Cǎi immortal spread his divine sense widely, searching with all his might, yet he detected no anomalies. His brow furrowed deeply as he stared intently at Zhang Wu, simultaneously raising his guard in secret. "The news you released. Then that must mean the news is indeed fake." "Yes." Zhang Wu nodded in confirmation. Wǔ Cǎi immortal glared coldly at Zhang Wu and said, "By luring me here with false information, Zhang Wu, do you think you can match me?" Afterward, the aura emanating from Wǔ Cǎi immortal began to climb, and the presence of his cultivation slowly strengthened. Soon, a much stronger cultivation aura than before radiated from Wǔ Cǎi immortal. Lin Jing and the others below felt an even greater pressure. "Golden Core, late stage," Zhang Wu said, uttering these few words. This was the first time he showed an expression of surprise. Upon hearing this, Lin Jing and the others, who had relaxed somewhat, instantly tensed up again. It must be understood. Among them, Zhang Wu, who had the highest cultivation, only possessed early-stage Golden Core cultivation. But this Wǔ Cǎi immortal, he was at the late-stage Golden Core level. The difference between early-stage and late-stage Golden Core was not to be underestimated. After his initial surprise, Zhang Wu's expression returned to calmness, and he stated directly, I didn't expect you to have quietly advanced to the late-stage golden core. However, what of it even if it's a late-stage golden core? Today you are still doomed to die. As soon as these words were uttered, not only the Wǔ Cǎi immortal in the sky, even Lin Jing and his two companions couldn't help but turn their heads, looking at Zhang Wu. They were aware that they were confronting a late-stage golden core Wǔ Cǎi immortal, and Zhang Wu was merely a cultivator at the early-stage golden core. What gave him the confidence to speak such words? Moreover, this statement was a far cry from the usual Zhang Wu. If it had been before, Zhang Wu would never have made such a proclamation. Especially Zhang Yuan, who had been acquainted with him for quite some time, looked even more astonished. Good. Wǔ Cǎi immortal, furious to the verge of laughter, his aura surged wildly, becoming more tempestuous. Zhang Wu, I didn't expect you to be so confident. I must see for myself where, indeed, such self-assurance comes from. However, no sooner had Wǔ Cǎi immortal spoken than a voice came from afar. He certainly has reason to be confident, because his confidence comes from me. Upon hearing this voice, Lin Jing and the two with him were immediately overjoyed. Zhang Yuan's expression turned excited as he looked in the direction from which the voice had come. In the distant sky, another figure was flying toward them on a sword, and its speed was very fast. Soon, he arrived above the group. Master, Patriarch, Immortal Chenfan. The group greeted the newcomer in unison. This person was none other than Zhang Chenfan, the Zhang family patriarch. Seeing the arrival of the Zhang family patriarch, Wǔ Cǎi immortal's brows involuntarily furrowed. Zhang Chenfan, is all of this your conspiracy? Yes. The Zhang family patriarch didn't refute, but responded directly. It's for the 5 elements divine art that I possess. Wǔ Cǎi immortal's gaze turned hostile, fixing the Zhang family patriarch in a tight stare. The 5 elements divine art you possess and the immortal 5 elements technique I practice both come from the same source. Only when combined can the 5 elements divine art unleash its greatest power, and I have no reason not to be tempted. But besides the 5 elements divine art, I want something else. The Zhang family patriarch was very straightforward, without beating around the bush. As soon as the words of the Zhang family patriarch fell, Wǔ Cǎi immortal immediately burst into boisterous laughter. Ha! Zhang Chenfan, you hypocrite! Have you finally shown your true colors? The Zhang family patriarch frowned slightly, and then countered. Am I hypocritical? I never conceal what I want. On the contrary, it's you who always likes to use deep schemes to mask your intentions. Nevertheless, Wǔ Cǎi immortal laughed as if he had heard the joke of the century, laughing so hard that he almost couldn't catch his breath. Ha! You're not hypocritical? My dear elder brother, haven't we spent so much time together? Don't I know you? After laughing, Wǔ Cǎi immortal looked toward the Zhang family patriarch, speaking in a wistful tone. Back in the demonic monster sea, when we 6 brothers took an oath of brotherhood, those were indeed glorious times. But what about later? On an expedition to the ruins, the 4th and the 6th brother perished within, and the 5th brother was unfortunately killed by his enemies, and it was the 2nd brother who avenged him. Only the death of the 2nd brother was unclear and unresolved. As he said that, Wǔ Cǎi immortal looked at the Zhang family patriarch, his gaze incredibly earnest. Since you say you're not hypocritical, then elder brother. Today I'll call you elder brother one more time. Tell me the truth. Did you kill the 2nd brother or not? Wǔ Cǎi immortal's eyes were red with fury as he stared at the Zhang family patriarch, waiting for his response. The Zhang family patriarch's expression suddenly became desolate, and he sighed. 3rd brother, I know that because of this matter, you're dissatisfied with me, and even after all these years, you've harbored strong malice towards me. At this point, the Zhang family patriarch paused, and then, looking straight at Wǔ Cǎi immortal, he said outright, Your guess is correct. The 2nd brother was indeed killed by me. Upon hearing the Zhang family patriarch's confession, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's aura erupted violently, bursting forth from his body, creating a powerful wave of energy that spread outward. Lin Jing and the other two were immediately blown back by this energy wave and had to quickly steady themselves by holding onto the nearby trees to remain upright. Only the Zhang family patriarch and Zhang Wu were unaffected. At the same time, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's eyes blazed with unmasked fury as he kept a fixed stare on the Zhang family patriarch, and a faint five-colored radiance was also discernible in his hand. However, facing the imminent attack from Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, the Zhang family patriarch made no move to defend himself. Instead, he continued, "But what I want to say is, I don't regret killing the second brother." With tears in the corners of his eyes, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal laughed wildly at the sky. "Haha, you don't regret it. You actually don't regret it. What a lack of regret. You truly are our good, big brother." Facing Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's sarcasm, Zhang family patriarch appeared calm and composed as he continued to speak. "Third brother, you surely are aware, when we first ventured into that relic, aside from our fourth and sixth brothers who died within, each of us obtained a cultivation technique. For the two of us, there were the immortal 5 elements technique and the 5 elements divine art. And you know this, third brother. At that time, for fairness' sake, though I really wanted the 5 elements divine art, I still let you have it. And the cultivation techniques of our second and fifth brothers were also not much different from ours." Wǔ Cǎi Immortal listened to Zhang family patriarch's narration without retorting. Clearly, what Zhang family patriarch was saying was the truth. But at that moment, Zhang family patriarch suddenly changed the subject, asking Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, "Third brother, but do you know? Our second brother actually had another cultivation technique hidden up his sleeve. It was because of that cultivation technique that I wanted to kill him." On hearing this, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was initially stunned, and then he looked at Zhang family patriarch with an even more incredulous gaze. "What? Do you mean to tell me you were willing to kill a brother you've lived with for so many years, just for a cultivation technique? Zhang Chenfan, when did you become so greedy?" Zhang family patriarch shook his head, then looking seriously at Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, he said, "At that time, I wasn't greedy. The reason I did it was to save you, third brother." "Save me?" Wǔ Cǎi Immortal frowned deeply upon hearing this. Zhang family patriarch's words baffled Wǔ Cǎi Immortal. Seeing Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's reaction, Zhang family patriarch knew that Wǔ Cǎi Immortal apparently didn't believe him much. So he opened his mouth and continued to explain. "You said that fifth brother was killed by enemies seeking revenge. But did you see it with your own eyes? No, right? You say that second brother avenged fifth brother, but you also didn't witness it with your own eyes. All of this was told to you by second brother." Wǔ Cǎi Immortal fell silent after hearing this, because indeed, that was the case. They were all told to him by his sworn second brother. Out of trust for his second brother, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal had never doubted him. Zhang family patriarch watched Wǔ Cǎi Immortal become silent, and then he cut to the chase. "Then, let me tell you the truth. Fifth brother was actually killed by second brother. You trusted second brother, so you never had any doubts. But I conducted my own investigation." No sooner had Zhang family patriarch finished his sentence than Wǔ Cǎi Immortal looked completely incredulous, shaking his head repeatedly. "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Why would second brother want to kill fifth brother? There's no reason. Why would he kill fifth brother? Tell me." Clearly, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was shocked by the truth that Zhang family patriarch had revealed. Zhang family patriarch then continued, "Because the cultivation technique that second brother had secretly kept was a demonic technique. That demonic technique could absorb others' cultivation and transfer it to oneself. Think about it. With fifth brother's cleverness, plus 100 years of experience braving the demonic monster sea, how could he be so easily ambushed by enemies? For him, only someone exceedingly close, who would be caught completely off guard, could easily approach him and make their move when he was unsuspecting. And among us brothers, the one closest to fifth brother was none other than second brother." After hearing the truth, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was in immense pain, holding his head with both hands. Impossible! How could this happen? Seeing that Wǔ Cǎi Immortal still refused to believe the truth, the Zhang family patriarch went straight to the point and dropped a bombshell. Third brother. Before your second brother died, didn't he also invite you to his island to be a guest? And besides, he told you to keep it a secret from me. Upon hearing this, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was stunned, because at the time that was indeed the case. His sworn second brother had said he was going to get a special magical treasure to give to his elder brother and asked for his assistance in checking it out. He also said to keep it a secret from his elder brother, claiming it was meant to be a surprise. At that time, it was exactly because he wanted to harm you that I eliminated him in advance. Now, do you still have any doubts? Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was stunned for a long while before he came to his senses. Is that really so? Of course, declared the Zhang family patriarch emphatically. Then why didn't you explain to me at the beginning? Wǔ Cǎi Immortal asked the Zhang family patriarch. Third brother, haven't you noticed? You've always had a deep prejudice against me. Even now, back then, even if I had explained, I'm afraid you wouldn't have listened. Besides, I didn't have any evidence. After hearing this, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal gave a wry smile. He indeed had always held prejudices against the Zhang family patriarch. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a deep rift between the two of them. However, this prejudice went back a long way. Enough. Let's not talk about this matter anymore. That incident is in the past now, and our misunderstanding seems to have been resolved. The Zhang family patriarch chuckled lightly, as if he had let go of something, and suddenly he appeared much more relaxed. Wǔ Cǎi Immortal remained silent for a long time before nodding. Yes, it's resolved. After saying this, the Zhang family patriarch smiled at Wǔ Cǎi Immortal and said, with this issue resolved, I can let go of a burden that's been weighing on my heart. Elder brother. Wǔ Cǎi Immortal pondered for a moment before speaking. Calling out this elder brother, it was evident that Wǔ Cǎi Immortal believed the Zhang family patriarch's words to a large extent. However, the Zhang family patriarch raised his hand, stopping Wǔ Cǎi Immortal from continuing, and said instead, Third brother, today your elder brother will ask you for one last thing. After this, from then on, there will be a complete severance of brotherly ties between us. Hearing the words of the Zhang family patriarch, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, who was initially somewhat sad, was first taken aback. Then he looked up at the Zhang family patriarch, his eyes full of confusion. May I know what you wish to borrow, elder brother? Not just Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, but even Lin Jing and the other two were perplexed. Even though the misunderstanding between them had been cleared, why would they break off their brotherly ties? Cackle. Subsequently, the Zhang family patriarch grinned, letting out a laugh, but this smile was somewhat strange. After the laugh, the Zhang family patriarch spoke again to Wǔ Cǎi Immortal. Third brother, why don't you lend me your life for a moment? Having heard that, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal immediately put away his grief and became extremely vigilant, quickly retreating a distance and glaring at the Zhang family patriarch, shouting, Zhang Chenfan, it turns out you've been deceiving me all along. In the face of Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's response, the Zhang family patriarch did not get angry, but instead explained to Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, Third brother, I haven't lied to you. Everything I just said is true. Haven't I told you before? Second brother hit a demonic path technique. It's because of this demonic path technique that second brother killed our fifth brother. I had no evidence before because I couldn't find the technique second brother had hidden. But now, I have it. Upon hearing these words, the Wǔ Cǎi Immortal immediately became alert. Yet, the Zhang family patriarch paid no mind and continued to speak. Speaking of which, third brother's spirit root aptitude is really enviable. Third brother, you're just over 300 years old, right? And you've already reached the golden core late stage. That's not like me. Bearing a 5 elements mixed spirit root, it took over 500 years just to barely reach the golden core late stage. And I have already taken a lifespan extension pill. There isn't much time left for me. Then there's that beast from the Howling Sky Wolf clan. Its slash was too tyrannical. With just one strike, I was gravely injured, costing me at least 20 years of my lifespan. After taking the lifespan extension pill, I gained 40 years of life, but that one slash took half. This damned beast. At this moment, the Zhang family patriarch no longer displayed his previous composure. His eyes were gloomy as he cursed non-stop. What he was referring to must have been the demon cultivator from the demon race secret realm who escaped before. That demon cultivator was indeed formidable, which Lin Jing had also witnessed. The Wǔ Cǎi immortal said nothing, staring intently at the Zhang family patriarch and remaining on guard at all times. The Zhang family patriarch ignored the Wǔ Cǎi immortal's actions. Instead, his excitement grew as he continued. But I guess I'm lucky. I actually seized the nirvana flower from it. You probably don't know, third brother, but that demon cultivator had 2 nirvana flowers on him. One of them was destroyed during the battle with us, and the other has fallen into my hands. Wǔ Cǎi immortal's eyebrows furrowed deeply as he exclaimed, "You actually obtained a complete nirvana flower." Clearly, this was news to him as well. Yes. The Zhang family patriarch nodded in confirmation and then continued. With the nirvana flower, there's hope for advancing to the nascent soul stage, and so my lifespan can be extended. While speaking, the Zhang family patriarch's eyes sparkled with a peculiar light. But my cultivation is too low. After more than 500 years of practice, I have only just reached the golden core late stage, still far from the golden core peak. Even if I gather the materials and refine the nirvana elixir without sufficient cultivation, it's all in vain. However, heaven never seals off all the exits. As he got to this point, the Zhang family patriarch grew more and more excited. Not long before, I finally found that demonic path technique's second brother had once hidden. My chance for cultivation advancement is in sight. As long as I practice that technique, I can quickly raise my cultivation. Then I'll make another trip to the demonic monster sea, gather the materials, and be able to refine the nirvana elixir. As long as I break through to the nascent soul stage, my lifespan can then increase by another 500 years, by which time I could have a 1,000-year lifespan. So, third brother, you will sacrifice your life to fulfill your big brother's wish. After listening, Wǔ Cǎi immortal furrowed his brows tightly, sensing an uneasy premonition. What kind of technique is it? Wǔ Cǎi immortal asked, voicing his doubts. The Zhang family patriarch then let out a sly laugh. That technique, you should have heard of it too. After speaking, the aura around the Zhang family patriarch began to change. A gloomy and terrifying aura emerged from him, and within this aura, there was also a violent scent of blood. It was as though a frenzied demon cultivator was present. When this aura appeared, the first to react was not Wǔ Cǎi immortal, but rather Zhang Yuan, who was with Lin Jing and Huang Qingling. Zhang Yuan's pupils suddenly constricted as he stared at the Zhang family patriarch, who was exuding an evil and terrifying presence, and cried out in shock and horror. Demonic path demon cultivator. No, it's not possible. How? How could this be possible? Zhang Yuan couldn't believe that the elder he had always respected was actually that demonic path demon cultivator. He had seen him before in the demon race secret realm, and there was absolutely no way he could mistake him. Suddenly, Zhang Yuan understood. He understood everything. Why? When he encountered the demonic path demon cultivator in the demon race secret realm, he was still alive. So that was it. No wonder. No wonder. At this moment, Zhang Yuan had mixed feelings, and his mind was in complete disarray. His faith had collapsed in that instant. In midair, Wǔ Cǎi immortal also came to his senses at this moment. Zhang Chenfan. A roar of fury erupted from Wǔ Cǎi immortal. At that moment, Wǔ Cǎi immortal's eyes were bulging with rage as he looked towards the Zhang family patriarch. It was you. It was actually you. You killed my great-grandson. Who Wǔ Cǎi immortal was referring to, of course, was Louis Yuan's father. It was well known that Louis Yuan's father had been killed by a demonic path demon cultivator. The Zhang family patriarch's gaze was incomparably cold as he then spoke up. What does your great-grandson count for? Do you know who the first person I killed was after I started practicing these demonic techniques? It was my very own great-grandson. The words of the Zhang family patriarch stunned Wǔ Cǎi Immortal on the spot, and Zhang Yuan, suddenly unable to stand, collapsed to the ground. He couldn't believe it. His own little uncle had not died due to a sudden worsening of his injuries. He had actually been killed by the hands of the patriarch. Even Lin Jing and Huang Qingling were dumbfounded by this shocking news of the moment, except for Zhang Wu, whose expression remained unchanged. Clearly, Zhang Wu must have known about this. The Zhang family patriarch paid no mind to the others and continued. At that time, although I had obtained the Nirvana flower, my injuries were far too severe. If I hadn't practiced these demonic techniques, I might have died from the severity of my injuries right then and there. I had to survive, the Zhang family patriarch said, his eyes unwaveringly determined. I had to live, I could not die, even if it meant practicing demonic techniques. But to begin practicing demonic techniques, one must first absorb a golden core cultivator. At that time, my injuries were just too severe for me to hunt down other golden core cultivators. However, fortunately, at that time in my family, there was a golden core cultivator. I suppose you all know what happened next. After the Zhang family patriarch finished speaking, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal once again burst into a fit of insane laughter. Ha! Zhang Chenfan, I was indeed right about you. You truly are a hypocrite. Even a tiger does not eat its cubs. Yet you did not spare even your own great-grandson. After hearing this, the Zhang family patriarch said disdainfully, I've said before that whatever I want, I will speak it directly. Just like this time, I want your life, third brother. Once I absorb you, I can use this demonic technique to break through to the golden core peak. Third brother, don't resist. You've seen the power of this demonic technique. You're no match for me. It's better to surrender peacefully and let me absorb you. Once Big Brother has ascended to the nascent soul stage, I will certainly be grateful to you. Third brother. Wǔ Cǎi Immortal stared dead at the Zhang family patriarch. To be able to escape from so many surrounding him, this demonic path technique must be extraordinary. Even though Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was at the golden core late stage of cultivation, he still wasn't sure he could defeat the Zhang family patriarch. However, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was different from others. He valued sentiment greatly, especially when it came to his own family. This was evident from the case with Yuan. Wǔ Cǎi Immortal would never back down against the murderer who killed his own great-grandson, no matter what. He would not let this person go. Fighting against the Zhang family patriarch, who had cultivated demonic techniques, would be extremely arduous, and Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was naturally aware of this. This battle required his all. Thus, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal suppressed his rage, calmed his mind, and steadied himself. He then said to the Zhang family patriarch, You want to absorb my cultivation? Then, come. At the same time, a five-colored aurora had already begun to circle around his body. The Zhang family patriarch watched the five-colored aurora spiraling around Wǔ Cǎi Immortal and chuckled, then spoke. The five elements divine art is indeed a rare and wonderful technique. Then, Big Brother shall gladly accept it. As his voice fell, the demonic qi around the Zhang family patriarch grew denser, and the scent of blood grew more pungent. His entire being was nearly enveloped in a sea of blood red. At this moment, Zhang Yuan still sat on the ground, his gaze vacant as he looked up at the Zhang family patriarch. The shock was simply too great for him. Even now, he couldn't accept it. One was the elder patriarch he had always admired, and the other was the uncle who had been very caring towards him. Zhang Yuan couldn't understand how things had come to this. However, just then, the Zhang family patriarch, prepared to battle Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, turned his head, pointed at Lin Jing and Huang Qingling, and said to Zhang Yuan, kill those two. This will be your assessment. Pass the assessment, and you'll be the future family head of the Zhang family. After I achieve the nascent soul, I will support you fully in entering the nascent soul realm. Otherwise, I will find someone else to succeed as family head, and you will go with them. When the Zhang family patriarch uttered these words, there was not a trace of emotion. Having said that, he turned to Zhang Wu, who was standing to the side. "Little Wu, keep an eye on Zhang Yuan. If anything is amiss, you have my permission to intervene directly." "Understood, Master." Zhang Wu bowed and responded to the Zhang family patriarch. Only then did Zhang Yuan snap back to reality. He raised his head, looking at Lin Jing and Huang Qingling. His eyes were filled with confusion and complexity. As soon as the Zhang family patriarch had spoken those words, Lin Jing had already retreated to the side with Huang Qingling. They even kept a great distance from Zhang Yuan. Their current situation was more dangerous than ever before. With Wǔ Cǎi Immortal above and Zhang Yuan and Zhang Wu in front, Lin Jing and Huang Qingling had no chance of victory. Even though Lin Jing could temporarily hide in the system space, what about Huang Qingling? Lin Jing, supporting Huang Qingling, kept retreating while silently pondering, searching for a strategy. At this moment, the Zhang family patriarch shot into the sky, launching an attack towards Wǔ Cǎi Immortal. And the five-colored aurora around Wǔ Cǎi Immortal shone with an incredibly brilliant light as he boldly retaliated, striking at the Zhang family patriarch. At that time, Zhang Wu didn't seem to care much about the actions of Lin Jing and Huang Qingling. He was highly confident in himself. He believed that no matter what, Lin Jing and his companion wouldn't escape. Zhang Wu slowly approached Lin Jing and the other two. He then spoke to Zhang Yuan. "Young Master Yuan, it's time for you to take action." Zhang Yuan slowly lifted his head and looked toward Zhang Wu. A moment later, he turned his head to gaze at Lin Jing and Huang Qingling. At this time, Zhang Yuan's eyes still lacked focus. He seemed like a walking corpse. In the sky, the battle between Wǔ Cǎi Immortal and the Zhang family patriarch had also begun. Right from the start, both unleashed their full power. As soon as they clashed, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was suppressed by the blood-red light bursting forth from the Zhang family patriarch. Having no choice, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal released streams of multicolored light towards the Zhang family patriarch while retreating backwards. The dazzling multicolored light collided with the blood-red light filled with an evil aura, causing their spiritual power to surge and scatter in all directions. Beneath them, countless mountains, stones, and trees affected by their spells were sent flying chaotically, leaving the ground in disarray. The battle was fierce, but since it was some distance away from Lin Jing and the others, their location was, for the time being, unaffected. Now free from the oppressive divine sense of Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, both Lin Jing and Huang Qingling recovered. It was at this moment, Zhang Wu, with hands behind his back, slowly walked towards the three of them, his gaze calm. Looking at Zhang Yuan, he spoke. "Young Master Yuan, please take action quickly, and do not fail the Master's expectations." With Zhang Wu here, it was nearly impossible for Lin Jing and the other to escape, even if they wanted to. Hearing Zhang Wu's words, Zhang Yuan gradually came to his senses. A moment later, he stood up. He looked at Lin Jing and Huang Qingling again. Lin Jing and Huang Qingling were both extremely guarded. Facing Zhang Wu, a golden core cultivator, they couldn't help but be vigilant. Seeing Zhang Yuan look over, Lin Jing lifted his head and also looked towards Zhang Yuan. Clearly, Lin Jing could see that Zhang Yuan's eyes were filled with changing expressions. Clearly, he was struggling. Lin Jing was silent for a moment, then spoke. "Brother Zhang, even if you truly become our enemy, I can understand. But I will fight with all my might." Huang Qingling stood firmly by his side, nodding her head in agreement. In contrast, Zhang Wu looked unhurried as he watched the three of them. Zhang Yuan's struggle deepened. "Young Master Yuan, it is time for you to take action," Zhang Wu said, urging him as he saw Zhang Yuan's hesitation. At the same time, an aura unique to a golden core cultivator rose from Zhang Wu, bringing a sense of oppression that enveloped Lin Jing and Huang Qingling once again. Clearly, Zhang Wu was ready, just waiting for Zhang Yuan to make his decision. Zhang Yuan looked down for a while. Then when he lifted his head again, his face was full of determination, his eyes unwavering. Then he turned around, back facing Lin Jing and Huang Qingling, toward Zhang Wu, and said, "Elder Wu, I don't want to become someone like you or the patriarch. If even friends and family can be discarded, then can I still be myself? Zhang Yuan's words left Zhang Wu silent for a moment. Then, with a slight frown, he advised Zhang Yuan. Young Master Yuan, you understand the Master. Once the Master has decided, there can be no disagreement. If you insist on going against the Master's will, I fear no one will be able to save you. I watched you grow up, young Master. I don't want to see you take the wrong path. I hope you can think this through clearly. Facing Zhang Wu's advice, Zhang Yuan simply shook his head and then said, I have thought it through. Following that, Zhang Yuan turned his head towards Lin Jing and Huang Qingling and said, Brother Lin, Miss Qingling, you two should leave quickly. Faced with Zhang Yuan's choice, Lin Jing felt both surprise and admiration. On one hand was his friend, on the other was his family's patriarch. After all, such a decision would be difficult for anyone to make. Brother Zhang, Lin Jing looked at Zhang Yuan and just started to speak when Zhang Wu interrupted. Neither of them will be able to escape. Young Master Yuan, you should stop fooling yourself. Since the Lord has dared to reveal his true identity, he had no intention of leaving either of them alive. Lin Jing had naturally thought of this as well. That's why he had just tried to inform Zhang Yuan. But Zhang Wu interrupted him. After hearing this, Zhang Yuan immediately had a moment of enlightenment, his gaze becoming resolute as he looked at Zhang Wu and said, If there's no intention to leave any survivors, then you might as well kill me too. Zhang Wu furrowed his brows and then spoke. Young Master Yuan, if you continue to be so stubbornly delusional, then do not blame me for being heartless. Following that, Zhang Wu started to close in. Zhang Yuan, however, positioned himself in front of Lin Jing and the others. Just then, boom! A loud explosion rang out in the sky. A massive wave of force mixed with violent spiritual energy sweeping across the area. In an instant, the surrounding trees were all uprooted, and even Lin Jing, Huang Qingling, and Zhang Yuan were blown far away by the tremendous blast. Fortunately, the three were quick to react. In midair, they had already circulated their spiritual power to form protective shields, blocking the majority of the explosive force. After they landed, thankfully, they were not seriously injured. Zhang Chenfan, what does it matter that you've cultivated demonic techniques? Now that your magical treasure has self-destructed along with my flying sword, you cannot withstand my 5 elements divine art without a magical treasure. This voice belonged to the Wǔ Cǎi immortal. No wonder the blast was so powerful. It turned out the magical treasures had self-destructed. Once they landed, Zhang Yuan hurriedly said to the two, Brother Lin, Miss Qingling, you two, quickly leave. However, Lin Jing could only helplessly shake his head and reply, Brother Zhang, it's too late to leave now. Because Lin Jing had already seen Zhang Wu flying towards them. His speed was very fast. He was quickly above them. Young Master Yuan, you have greatly disappointed me, and you have greatly disappointed the Lord as well. Zhang Yuan turned around and shielded Lin Jing and Huang Qingling behind him. Lord Wu, this is my own choice. If you want to harm my friends, then you'll have to kill me first. Facing Zhang Wu, a golden core immortal, the three at the Foundation establishment level didn't stand much of chance. But they were not going to sit there and await their demise. This time, Lin Jing had no choice but to reveal his cultivation, although it might not be of much use. By now, Huang Qingling had already adjusted herself and produced her flying sword. Lin Jing likewise summoned his flawless sword. At the same time, one of Lin Jing's hands reached towards his storage bag, where his last resort lay, the ultimate sword. Whether they could turn the situation around and escape from Zhang Wu's clutches depended on the ultimate sword. Zhang Wu, seeing their determination, couldn't help but laugh. Young Master Yuan, it seems you've made up your mind to join them and become an enemy of the Lord. Lord Wu, in life, one must have something worth guarding, and today I fight for my friends. Even if I die, I will have no regrets. Good. In that case, young Master Yuan, don't blame me for showing no mercy. With those words, the aura emanating from Zhang Wu continued to rise. And with that, A fiery red treasure pestle was also summoned by Zhang Wu. At this moment, Huang Qingling stepped forward, standing beside Zhang Yuan. And so, Zhang Yuan and Huang Qingling subconsciously protected Lin Jing behind them. Together, the two of them summoned their magical treasures, confronting Zhang Wu. At this time, Lin Jing had not yet fully revealed his cultivation level. He still appeared to be at the 9th level of qi refinement. He was not in a hurry to show his true power now. The situation now seemed more suitable for a surprise attack. Soon after, Zhang Wu made his move. With a stretch of his hand, the magical treasure in front of him sprung into action, hurtling straight toward the two. Zhang Yuan and Huang Qingling hastily controlled their flying swords to defend themselves. However, there was more to come. At this moment, Lin Jing also made his move, pulling out 3 5-thunder talismans from his storage bag and throwing them all at once. Clang, clang. First came the sound of the magical treasures colliding, followed by the sound of Zhang Yuan and Huang Qingling's magical treasures being thrown backward. At this time, the 5 thunder talismans also arrived in front of Zhang Wu. Explode, Lin Jing bellowed. Immediately after, the 5 thunder talismans exploded, turning into a sky filled with thunderous light. Facing this sky of thunderous light, Zhang Wu was neither hurried nor slow. Slapping out with his palm, a huge yellow palm imprint appeared. The newly formed region of thunderous light was instantly turned into nothingness by this yellow palm imprint. Zhang Wu's gaze remained calm as he looked at Lin Jing and explained, "Using second-rank talismans against a golden core cultivator has no significance. Even if you use third-rank talismans, I can evade before you even activate them. Your cultivation is too weak to pose any threat to me." Zhang Wu had remained calm from beginning to end, not letting even a hint of murderous intent leak out. Despite this, Lin Jing and his companions didn't dare to relax in the slightest. After speaking, Zhang Wu looked at Lin Jing's hand reaching toward the storage bag and said, "And I also know, right now, you're probably plotting to use the true, slaying magical sword gifted to you by the old master to deal with me. You've been biding your time very smartly. But it's pointless. The gap in strength between us is simply too vast, so vast that, no matter what schemes or tricks you use, you won't succeed." Having his thoughts exposed by Zhang Wu, Lin Jing's eyebrows immediately furrowed. Zhang Wu had known about the true, slaying magical sword from the start and had been guarding against him the whole time. After speaking, he turned to look at Zhang Yuan and Huang Qingling and said, "Young Master Yuan, Miss Qingling, I know that both of you still have other magical treasures on you, but they are of no use against me. I suggest you just stay put and surrender peacefully to avoid suffering at my hands." At this moment, the three who had been exposed gathered together, confronting Zhang Wu. And on the other side, Zhang Wu still watched Lin Jing and the others calmly. Just then, a scream rang out. "Ah, Zhang Chenfan!" The cry was extremely sorrowful and filled with uncontrollable rage. Lin Jing, alongside the others, including Zhang Wu, immediately turned their heads toward the direction the sound came from. Hovering in midair, the Wǔ Cǎi immortal was bound by numerous blood-red threads, unable to move. The other ends of these blood-red threads were connected to the Zhang family patriarch. And at this time, the Zhang family patriarch's expression had become extremely terrifying, and the aura emanating from him was even more evil, like a world-ending demon. Moreover, along the threads binding the Wǔ Cǎi immortal, blood welled up and flowed along these threads, being ingested by the Zhang family patriarch. The Wǔ Cǎi immortal had been defeated so quickly. This was something none of them had anticipated. "Ah, this wonderful sensation. Indeed, my good younger brother, late-stage golden core cultivation, so incredibly pure. I can feel it, just a little more, just a bit more, and I can break through to golden core peak." The Zhang family patriarch greedily sucked away, letting out a satisfied moan in the process. On the other hand, Wǔ Cǎi immortal, controlled by the red threads, struggled fiercely but could never break free. His cultivation, along with the essence blood within his body, was continuously absorbed by the Zhang family patriarch. Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's cultivation was visibly plummeting, and even his body was rapidly wasting away to the naked eye. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before Wǔ Cǎi Immortal was completely drained and turned into a dried-up corpse. Although Zhang Wu's gaze was also directed skyward, his divine sense pressure remained firmly over Lin Jing and the other two. Lin Jing and his companions, at this point, didn't dare make any rash moves. Just then, an unexpected change occurred. In the sky, countless dazzling bursts of light suddenly erupted from Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, enveloping his whole being within. Those red threads that bound him, under the reflection of the five-colored light, also snapped one after another. In just a short moment, all the red threads had completely snapped. However, seeing the red threads severed, the Zhang family patriarch didn't panic at all, but instead spoke outright. "Little brother, it's no use, you're no match for me. Struggling is futile." No sooner had the Zhang family patriarch finished speaking than the dazzling light around Wǔ Cǎi Immortal transformed into a five-colored aurora, which burst forth suddenly and attacked the Zhang family patriarch at great speed. "Oomph." The Zhang family patriarch snorted coldly as a surge of blood light intensified around him, and countless blood threads burst forth from his body. They tangled with the five-colored aurora that was coming towards him. Looking again at Wǔ Cǎi Immortal, as the dazzling light left his body, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's aura quite noticeably weakened. However, his gaze remained resolute, staring steadfastly at the Zhang family patriarch. "Zhang Chenfan, since you so desire my cultivation, then I'll give it to you." No sooner had Wǔ Cǎi Immortal finished speaking than his momentum soared drastically, and countless spiritual energy gathered from the outside world and poured into Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's body. At the same time, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal's body started to rapidly swell. Seeing this, Zhang Wu's face underwent a drastic change. Not good. He's going to self-destruct. Up in the sky, the Zhang family patriarch also witnessed this scene. He wanted to stop it, but he was hindered by the five-colored light and couldn't free his hands to act. "Zhang Wu, stop him." As the Zhang family patriarch was unable to intervene, he hurriedly called for Zhang Wu. Actually, as soon as Zhang Wu had seen Wǔ Cǎi Immortal preparing to self-destruct, he had already made his move. But would Wǔ Cǎi Immortal let him succeed? No sooner had Zhang Wu made his move than another five-colored aurora charged towards him, blocking him in his tracks. Seeing the situation unfolding, Lin Jing and his companions immediately sensed danger and quickly backed away. If Wǔ Cǎi Immortal were to successfully self-destruct, being this close would leave them with no chance of survival. All of this happened very rapidly. The moment Zhang Wu was blocked, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal had already drawn all the nearby spiritual power into himself, and his own body swelled as violent energies rampaged within. "Zhang Chenfan, go to hell." Before his words were finished, Wǔ Cǎi Immortal charged towards the Zhang family patriarch. At this moment, the Zhang family patriarch, still entangled with the five-colored light, couldn't evade, and he could only watch in horror as Wǔ Cǎi Immortal rushed toward him. "Wǔ Cǎi, you would go so far." However, the Zhang family patriarch couldn't finish his sentence. Wǔ Cǎi Immortal had already reached him, just as the Zhang family patriarch had finally broken free from the tangle of the five-colored aurora. And then, boom! A tremendous explosion followed by blinding light illuminated the area as Wǔ Cǎi Immortal successfully self-destructed right beside the Zhang family patriarch. Following the self-destruction, an astoundingly powerful surge of violent spiritual power instantly dispersed outward, forming a wave of energy. Whether it was trees or rocks, everything that made contact with this wave instantly turned to ash. Zhang Wu, who was about to rush forward, saw this and hurriedly brought out a shield-shaped magical treasure, while also accumulating spiritual power to form several spiritual shields in front of him. As the wave struck, the spiritual shields around Zhang Wu shattered one after another, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying through the air. The shield-shaped magical treasure in front of him cracked continuously, spreading fissures throughout. Then, the spiritual power continued to expand outward. It quickly caught up to Lin Jing and the other two. Seeing that there was no escape, Zhang Yuan and Huang Qingling each brought out a defensive magical treasure to protect the three of them. Just as they finished doing this, the wave of violent spiritual power had already spread to them. Subsequently, all three of them were sent flying through the air. Fortunately, though, Lin Jing and his companions were a fair distance away, and by the time the wave reached them, it had lost much of its strength. Although they were injured as well, they were in better shape than Zhang Wu, who was closer to the blast. After landing, Lin Jing looked towards the center of the explosion, where dust and smoke churned, making it impossible to see anything. He couldn't help but think to himself, I just don't know how the Zhang family patriarch, who was at the center of the explosion, has fared under such a massively powerful blast. The explosion came quickly and left just as fast. When the explosion passed and all the dust had settled, what was revealed was a huge, several hundred feet wide, circular crater on the ground. The self-destruction of the Wǔ Cǎi immortal was almost as powerful as a full-strength strike from a nascent soul cultivator. Above the crater, the Zhang family patriarch stood, his clothes ragged and his body covered in blood. At this moment, the demonic techniques that had been surging through him had also receded, returning him to a normal state. In front of him, there was a magical treasure as clear as crystal. Now, that magical treasure was riddled with cracks. It seemed that just now, it was this crystal-like magical treasure that had blocked most of the destructive force from Wǔ Cǎi immortal self-destruction. Crack! Suddenly, a noise came from the magical treasure. Then a crack appeared. Crack, crack! As the cracking sounds continued, the fissure spread further and further. Finally, with a loud boom, the magical treasure finally fulfilled its purpose and shattered into pieces. At that moment, Zhang Wu swiftly rose into the air, arriving before the Zhang family patriarch. Master, are you all right? Zhang Wu, too, had traces of blood at the corner of his mouth, but appeared to be in a significantly better state compared to the Zhang family patriarch, who was at the center of the explosion. The Zhang family patriarch's gaze was stern as he stared intently at the giant pit on the ground, lost in thought. After a long moment, the Zhang family patriarch lifted his head and said to Zhang Wu, I'm fine. Zhang Wu glanced at the huge pit in front of him, then continued to ask, with Wǔ Cǎi's self-destruction, what about his 5 elements divine art? Zhang Wu knew the patriarch's aim and couldn't help but feel worried. The Zhang family patriarch's expression was somber as he too looked towards the massive pit on the ground. He then took out a storage bag and said to Zhang Wu, I certainly can't forget that. If it weren't for the sake of snatching his storage bag, I wouldn't have suffered such severe injuries. It's a pity his self-destruction was a waste. I was just a little short of reaching the Golden Core Peak. Having said that, the Zhang family patriarch turned his head to look at Lin Jing and the others, who had just managed to stand up in the distance, his expression as cold as frost. Zhang Yuan, he has made his choice. Seeing the patriarch's grim expression, Zhang Wu quickly said, Master, why not give young Master Yuan another chance? Or perhaps confine him, and after some time, he will likely come around. Humph! The Zhang family patriarch snorted coldly and then spoke. I don't have so much energy to spend on him. The entire Zhang family depends on me for support to exist. He even dares to rebel against me. Keeping him serves no purpose. As the Zhang family patriarch spoke these words, strands of demonic qi continuously surged from his body, and in his eyes, traces of black qi faintly emerged. The current appearance of the Zhang family patriarch. He may have been possessed due to cultivating those demonic techniques. The Zhang family was established by me, and it was also by my hand that it reached its current scale. Anyone who dares to defy me should be killed outright. If I, Zhang Chenfan, could establish a Zhang family once, I can establish a second one. Anyone who foolishly tries to stop me from obtaining immortality is an enemy. Remember, it's anyone. After the Zhang family patriarch finished speaking, Zhang Wu opened his mouth, wanting to say something else. But when the Zhang family patriarch cast a cold glance at him, Zhang Wu immediately clammed up. He then sighed, cupped his hands toward the Zhang family patriarch, and said, "Yes, master." Seeing this, the Zhang family patriarch turned his head back to look at Lin Jing and the other two. Then, disregarding his own injuries, the Zhang family patriarch stepped onto his sword and flew towards the direction where the three were, with Zhang Wu following closely behind. After the self-destruction of the Wǔ Cǎi immortal, Lin Jing and the other two were blown far away by the blast wave. While all three were injured, thankfully, the injuries were not severe. When the three of them got back to their feet, the Zhang family patriarch and Zhang Wu were already flying towards them. Lin Jing looked towards the distant Zhang family patriarch and Zhang Wu flying together and immediately frowned. The three of them together were no match for Zhang Wu, let alone now with the Zhang family patriarch present. Although the Zhang family patriarch was severely injured, he was still beyond their ability to confront. Just as Lin Jing was frowning in deep thought, contemplating a strategy, Huang Qingling beside him spoke up at that moment. Huang Qingling lowered her voice and then said to Lin Jing and Zhang Yuan, "When the time comes, I will rush forth. You two must not act rashly. I still have one last strategy. If this strategy succeeds, we will surely escape unharmed." Hearing Huang Qingling's words, Lin Jing looked at her with a surprise on his face. Huang Qingling gave Lin Jing a reassuring glance and nodded at him. Lin Jing nodded back in response. The two then looked at Zhang Yuan. He was gazing at the Zhang family patriarch and Zhang Wu flying towards them, his eyes filled with confusion. Before long, the Zhang family patriarch and Zhang Wu descended in front of Lin Jing and the others. The Zhang family patriarch lifted his gaze to look at Lin Jing and his companions. It was at this moment that Lin Jing noticed the black chi flickering within the Zhang family patriarch's eyes. Moreover, the aura emanating from his body was somewhat sinister and evil, so unlike his usual disposition. Without a hint of warmth or emotion, the Zhang family patriarch turned his cold gaze upon Zhang Yuan, and then he said, "Are you sure you want to oppose me?" Yet Zhang Yuan's face was full of anguish as he looked at the Zhang family patriarch and said, "Patriarch, are family members really so worthless in your eyes? What's the harm in abandoning everything for immortality? Anyone who dares to hinder my quest for immortality is my enemy." After speaking, the Zhang family patriarch's gaze grew even colder as he stared directly at Zhang Yuan. "I'll ask you one last time. Do you truly wish to be my enemy?" Facing the profound aura of the Zhang family patriarch, the pained expression on Zhang Yuan's face gradually vanished. In its place was a look of determination. Zhang Yuan also looked directly at the Zhang family patriarch and declared resolutely, "Patriarch, I'll address you as patriarch one last time. I have decided to protect my friends until death. If you wish to kill us, then go ahead. Very well, since this is the case, I shall accommodate you." The Zhang family patriarch's gaze remained ice-cold, as if he was facing an enemy, seemingly undeterred by anything in his resolve. And behind him, Zhang Wu also showed a look of reluctance and turned his head away. The Zhang family patriarch stretched out his hand, which slowly turned a blood-red color. Then, he raised his hand and struck down towards Zhang Yuan with a palm. A blood-red palm imprint appeared, carrying tremendous force, and flew towards Zhang Yuan. In the instant the blood-red palm imprint was formed, Huang Qingling suddenly moved. She stepped in front of Zhang Yuan and raised a jade pendant magical treasure, attempting to block the palm imprint. Lin Jing was startled by this sight. Huang Qingling not only didn't dodge, but directly moved forward to confront it, which Lin Jing had not anticipated at all. However, by the time Lin Jing thought to react, it was already too late. At this moment, Zhang Yuan was the first to move. He directly bypassed Huang Qingling, wielding his magical treasure and flying sword, and charged towards the Zhang family patriarch. His face was filled with a look of utter determination. Seeing the expression on Zhang Yuan's face, Huang Qingling became anxious. She knew that Zhang Yuan was intending to sacrifice his life. This blow was too great for Zhang Yuan. His own most revered patriarch was actually cultivating demonic techniques and had even murdered his own most beloved uncle. All of them were family. Zhang Yuan couldn't accept it. He had been unable to accept it since he learned the truth. That's why he had chosen to confront the patriarch in this way. Zhang Yuan, don't. As Huang Qingling began to speak, the blood-red palm imprint had already struck. First, it hit the foremost Zhang Yuan. As soon as Zhang Yuan came in contact with the palm imprint, his spiritual shield immediately shattered, and even the magical treasures protecting him were smashed away with a crash. The Zhang family patriarch, having cultivated demonic techniques, was too powerful. Zhang Yuan couldn't withstand even a moment and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Then his body exploded with numerous wounds, gushing blood and falling to the ground. Upon contact, Zhang Yuan was severely injured, thrown backwards, and fell in the direction of Lin Jing. Seeing this, Lin Jing hurriedly took flight to catch the backwards flying Zhang Yuan. At this point, after striking Zhang Yuan, the palm imprint did not dissipate, but continued forward, shooting towards Huang Qingling. When the palm imprint was about to reach Huang Qingling, suddenly, a golden-yellow barrier erupted around her, enveloping her inside. The unstoppable palm imprint directly struck the barrier, and the moment they contacted, the golden barrier suddenly burst forth with a bright light that repelled the palm imprint. And that wasn't all. After repelling the palm imprint, the golden barrier unexpectedly condensed into a gigantic golden sword shadow that sped towards the Zhang family patriarch who had released the blood-red palm imprint. Seeing this, the Zhang family patriarch was suddenly alarmed. He instantly gathered countless blood-red, murderous auras around himself, and then condensed these auras into a huge sword shadow, striking at the golden sword shadow in return. Boom! A loud noise erupted as the two giant sword shadows exploded in midair. Lin Jing, who had just caught Zhang Yuan, was immediately blasted backwards by the shockwave from the explosion. Fortunately, Lin Jing was prepared and had several spiritual shields already protecting him. The explosive force wasn't very strong. Even without the spiritual shields, Lin Jing could have withstood it. But Zhang Yuan, severely wounded in Lin Jing's arms, couldn't bear it. Afterwards, Lin Jing staggered to the ground, fortunately without causing any harm to Zhang Yuan. However, even with Lin Jing's protection, Zhang Yuan's condition was still not good because his injuries were simply too severe. Lin Jing, after landing, hurriedly placed Zhang Yuan on the ground and then extended his spiritual power into Zhang Yuan's body. As the spiritual power entered Zhang Yuan's body, his eyebrows furrowed immediately. Zhang Yuan's body was like tattered cloth, utterly damaged. Moreover, within his body, countless violent spiritual powers were rampaging everywhere. Most importantly, Zhang Yuan's cultivation foundation had shattered, and his cultivation was already ruined. At this point, it could be said that he was beyond saving. By now, Zhang Yuan's gaze had begun to scatter. Seeing this, Lin Jing hurriedly transfused spiritual power into Zhang Yuan's body, attempting to repair his injuries. But no matter how he tried to repair them, those violent spiritual powers would instantly destroy them. This spiritual power was too overbearing. Lin Jing's spiritual power simply couldn't compete with it. Brother Lin, don't waste your energy. Perhaps this is the best outcome for me. After speaking, Zhang Yuan looked towards Lin Jing and Huang Qingling with eyes full of apology. I'm sorry for dragging you down. As Zhang Yuan spoke, his injuries suddenly worsened, and numerous blood froths surged out from his mouth, streaming down the corners. Brother Zhang, hang in there. You haven't let us down, nor have you let anyone else down. Lin Jing supported Zhang Yuan, speaking while intensely channeling more spiritual power into Zhang Yuan's body. He then reached into his storage bag and pulled out a supreme grade rejuvenation elixir, placing it in Zhang Yuan's mouth. Lin Jing was extremely remorseful at this moment. Before coming to this secret realm, he had sold all the pure elixir medicine at the black market. Even the last pure body restoration pill that he had temporarily refined had been given to Senior Han to treat his injuries. He had not a single pure body restoration pill left on him and had to use this supreme grade rejuvenation elixir. Upon seeing Lin Jing's actions, a cold snort was heard. The one who let out the cold snort was the Zhang family patriarch. Even using the pure body restoration pill is useless. As a descendant of the Zhang family, yet helping an outsider, dying is well-deserved. After speaking, the Zhang family patriarch then turned his gaze towards Huang Qingling. At that moment, a jade pendant was floating in front of Huang Qingling. Lin Jing now realized that the jade pendant was the one elder you had given to Huang Qingling after returning from his duties at Yuan Pavilion. No wonder that giant sword phantom appeared. It turned out to be the jade pendant's counterattack feature. It must be said, Elder Bai really treasures you. Your magical treasure is indeed remarkable, but how many times can it withstand my attacks? The Zhang family patriarch looked at the jade pendant floating in front of Huang Qingling, which now bore a crack on it. Judging by its appearance, it couldn't hold out for much longer. However, Huang Qingling seemed as if she hadn't heard. Her lips moved slightly, chanting a spell, and then a green light slowly brightened at her fingertips. At that moment, Huang Qingling extended her hand, transferring the green light into the jade pendant. It was then that the jade pendant suddenly emitted a burst of dazzling light. After the light, a teleportation array about 2 zhang in size appeared under Huang Qingling's feet. Subsequently, Huang Qingling stepped out of the teleportation array's range. The jade pendant, however, was left in its original place. The Zhang family patriarch, seeing the teleportation array, immediately became vigilant, and his expression darkened. Managing the 3 of them was easy, but if more people arrived, there might be further complications. Seeing the light slowly brightening on the teleportation array, it seemed that someone was about to teleport here. The Zhang family patriarch's aura suddenly changed, and countless blood-red auras burst forth from his body, attacking the teleportation array, aiming to destroy the teleportation array before anyone could teleport through. However, the formidable demonic chi had not even neared the teleportation array when it was blocked by a light shield formed by the jade pendant. No matter how the Zhang family patriarch attacked, the light shield remained utterly unmoved. However, the cracks on the jade pendant were increasing and growing more dense. As the light shield brightened, the teleportation array activated. Following a burst of blinding light, 2 figures appeared on the teleportation array. Upon seeing these 2 figures, Lin Jing couldn't help but rejoice and hastily called out to them. Elder Bai, Elder Yu,